Good morning. It is 10:19 on 9/19, September 19th, 10:19 in the morning. Why am I here? Well, according to the title that I believe I'm going to have on this is how to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles, the Feast of Sukkot. Let me open this up real quick and we'll get going. So let's see. Let's start at the beginning. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. What does that have to do with tabernacles? First, we have to establish who decided we should celebrate tabernacles and how it should be celebrated. Who gave us this ordinance that has been handed down through generation upon generation? God. God, the creator of heaven and earth. Let's go to the next one. Let's take a look at Exodus 3:13 through 14. And this is that same God who created heaven and earth speaking to Moses. I think you know who Moses is. And Moses said unto God, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say to them, The God of your fathers hath sent me unto you. And they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am, hath sent me unto you. Now, of course, I'm reading this in English. And nobody spoke English when this event actually happened. So the language that Moses was speaking was, could have been Egyptian. Because that's what Moses was trained in. He was raised up in Egyptian. And so he knew the Egyptian language. He didn't know the Hebrew language. And he didn't know enough about the Hebrew people to know the name of their God, or he would not have asked, What's your name? Apparently, the Hebrew people, the children of Israel in Egypt, knew the name of their God. But Moses did not. Otherwise, he wouldn't have to ask. So they knew. Moses didn't. Moses had to ask. This is what God told him. Thus shalt you say unto the children of Israel, I am, has sent me unto you. Again, English. What is that name? Well, Moses recorded that name that he heard as Aleph, Hey Yod Hey. How did he pronounce that? Really not very sure. Now we know that the Jewish people have handed down this verb, Hayah, for centuries. And they've always called it Hayah or Hayah. But that Hayah portion is in there, whether they use a soft H or a hard H. Hayah is definitely in that word that means to be, to exist, that he is. So, how do we say it? Moses knew how to say it. The people in Egypt knew how to say it because when he said it, they accepted him. And then the miracles happened. So how do we say it? Numbers 6:22 through 27. And the Lord, which is another name for God, the God that created everything, heaven and earth, spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this way ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, The Lord bless thee, the Lord keep thee, the Lord make his face to shine upon thee, and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee, and give thee peace. Right? The Aaronic blessing. He says, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, In this way shall ye bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, those words I just mentioned. Many people recount this blessing. This is the Aaronic blessing. And yet, they've disobeyed God every single time they read it. They've disobeyed the God who created heaven and earth. They have not blessed the children in the way God said to bless them. They absolutely have not. Because this is not the full Aaronic blessing. We do not have Numbers 6:27 included in that rendition. And so that is not what God said to Moses to tell to Aaron. What he said was, in this way shalt thou bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, the Lord bless thee, the Lord keep thee, the Lord make his face to shine upon thee, and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee, and give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. That last line is part of the Aaronic blessing. It's not part of number 7, because number 7 starts and goes someplace completely differently. But it's part of the Aaronic blessing. And for years, those who say they bless Israel with this blessing have neglected to include in the blessing the last line of the blessing, which means they haven't done as Aaron was told by Moses, by God. Bless the children of Israel, saying unto them. They didn't give the full blessing. What is the truth minus a part of the truth? It's a lie. It's either a lie of omission. And this, in fact, if you end the Aaronic blessing at, and give thee peace, you have created a lie of omission. You have omitted the very last portion of the truth. And it's that portion that reveals the name of God. And they shall put my name on the children of Israel, and I will bless them. So the name of God, this name that Moses heard, this name that they knew in Egypt before they left into the wilderness, this name that they knew and Moses didn't know because Moses had to ask, this name is on the children of Israel. I keep telling people that name sounds like this, Hayah. That the Aleph is a silent Aleph. And that in fact it does sound like Hayah. Can we find that on the children? Of course. If those of you who have come to my channel know, of course it's on the children. Hezek Hayah, Jerem Hayah, Yeshayahu, Isaiah Hayah, Isaiah, Yeshaya, same name in Hebrew, Yesayahu. That name is on the children, and it's the only name that is on the children, in obedience to Moses, in obedience to God, and that actually matches with what Moses declared the name was, Aleph He Yod He. So when we ask who tells us to celebrate tabernacles and in what manner, we have to say that the name of the God that tells us to do this is Hayah. Leviticus 23:41 through 44. This is how you celebrate tabernacles. By the authority of the one who told Moses, this is how you celebrate tabernacles. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths. That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feasts of the Lord. The feast of who? The feast of Hayah, the Lord. His name is Hayah. We can now say that, and it's important for us to say that, because Malachi 2:2 declares that our blessings will become curses unless we glorify the name of the Lord, unless we hear it and lay it to heart and glorify it. So he said, dwell in booths 7 days. What do they do on the 8th day? Well, if they're still dwelling in their booth, they're in disobedience. Because this says, ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. Not 8, not 6, not 22, 7. So when 7 days are up, are they dwelling in booths anymore? Absolutely not. Deuteronomy 16, 13 through 15. This is about the Shalosh Regalim. This is about the 3 holy feasts of God, the pilgrimage feast. 13 through 15, Deuteronomy 16. Thou shalt observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days. How long? 7. And after that, thou hast gathered in thy corn and thy wine. So once you've gathered in the corn and the wine, you celebrate this feast for 7 days. And thou shalt rejoice in thy feast, thou and thy son and thy daughter and thy manservant and thy maidservant and the Levite, the stranger, and the fatherless and the widow that are within thy gates. 7 days shalt thou keep a solemn feast unto the Lord thy God in the place which the Lord shall choose. Because the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy increase and in all the works of thy hands. Therefore thou shalt surely rejoice. And when they ask you, why are you rejoicing? What is so special? Who are you rejoicing? We're rejoicing in the Lord. Well, who is the Lord? What is his name? What if they come to you and say, what is his name? No one in Israel today in 2022 can tell you his name. Why is it that I can? Because God showed it to me clearly. It's real easy to find if you're given the ability to see and hear. I hope that you're given the ability to see and hear. Deuteronomy 16:16. 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, in the feast of weeks, in the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before the Lord empty. They will all have a gift for the Lord. 7 days. Leviticus 23:34. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the feast of tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord. Why did I read all that? Clearly, tabernacles is a 7-day feast. Clearly, at the end of the 7th day, they no longer dwell in temporary dwellings. There are 3 feasts that are important to God, that he separated out from the other 7 as his Shalosh Regalim, as his 3 feasts: Passover, unleavened bread, which contains Passover, Pentecost or Shavuot, and Tabernacles, which is also called Sukkot. I won't even go to the first 2 fulfillments. But the 3rd fulfillment, Tabernacles, they live in a temporary dwelling for 7 days. And when sunset hits on that 7th day, which then closes the 7th day, begins the 8th day, what happens at that moment of light that is sunset? They stop living in temporary dwellings. They go into their permanent homes in the promised land. That little flash of light that is sunset separates the 7-day feast in a temporary dwelling from the 8th day feast, the most joyous portion, when they go into their permanent homes in the promised land. What mystery did Paul reveal except this? That we will leave our temporary dwellings in a flash of light of sunset into permanent dwellings and go into the promised land. They went from a physical tent to a physical dwelling in the promised land in a flash of light. We'll go from a physical tent of our soul into a permanent tent of our soul at a flash of light and go to the promised land, heaven. I think that's the mystery Paul revealed. And that mystery is fulfilled by the Father. So when you are celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles, the Feast of Sukkot, and it comes time to magnify the name of the Lord at the end of the 7th day and the beginning of the 8th day, and you cry out in thanks and rejoice in him who took you out of bondage, what name are you going to use? What name is his name? Who are you actually going to glorify? I think you should glorify the name of the Lord. Hayah. I think you should glorify him by his name. Hayah. And sing praises unto him who created the heavens and the earth, who rules on high, who has no one like him. Glorify that God, the one who created heaven and earth. I think that sounds like the rapture, because Paul says, not all of us are going to have to sleep. Some of us will be changed in a moment, in a flash, in a twinkling of light, and the temporary shall give way to the permanent. It just doesn't get any clearer than that, folks. I don't know how to draw it out any clearer. And the one who ordained this all is the God of Moses, who the slaves in Egypt, they knew his name, and the children of Israel do not today. And it's time. Because the name is available today, it's time to glorify his name. If he had wanted it glorified 10 years ago, you would have known 10 years ago. If he wanted it glorified at the beginning of Israel as a state, he would have told you then. But it hasn't been made known until now. And now is the time to glorify his name. When? At his third and final feast, the Feast of Tabernacles. And while you're celebrating in your temporary hut, remember that this body is a temporary hut. And while you're looking for that flash of light at sunset on the 7th day, remember that there's a flash of light that will release you from this temporary dwelling and place you in a permanent dwelling. And you will go into the promised land. We will go to the Father's house to attend the wedding supper. And we will be there in the chuppah, in the bridal chamber, tucked away from everybody else, consummating the marriage with our groom. And then we will come back 7 days later, 7 years later, and announce to the town that yes, the marriage is complete and Christ will rule and reign. You need to be thinking about this. You absolutely need to be thinking about this. I know God will reveal this. He'll make this video go viral, or one of the other videos go viral, for some reason. Because it doesn't make any sense to cry in the wilderness if there's nobody in the wilderness to hear. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? I think it does make a sound, because I'm over here making sounds. And there's nobody in the wilderness who's listening. But I know the sounds are being made. And one day, they may hear that sound. Tabernacles is almost upon us. The 7th day of Tabernacles is the 18th. No, the 17th? Yes. The 16th. It's weird, because the days on the Gregorian calendar start at midnight, but the days on the Hebrew calendar start at sunset. So when is it? The flash of light, the twinkling of the eye. This year, that flash of light, that twinkling of the eye, will be at 6:06 p.m. Jerusalem time on the 16th of October, 2022. If the Father is going to fulfill that third feast as he should, seeing as the Son fulfilled the first, the Spirit fulfilled the second, and the Father should, if he is a God of order, which he is, he should fulfill the third by sending his Son, the groom, for the bride, so that we can attend the wedding. This is the most opportune time. Do we need to take part in this? He says, rejoice. We should rejoice. We should be rejoicing in the Feast of Tabernacles. And we should be rejoicing his name, glorifying him, because he is the only one. When Jesus said, anything you ask in my name shall be given, he's not saying anything you ask of me. He's saying anything you ask in his name. So whom are we asking? We're asking God the Father, through the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus, to fulfill his feast that only he can fulfill. Many of you have heard this before, some of you have not. That's what we're asking. The Genesis 11:6 promise, if the people can come together as one people in one language, that language being Hebrew, that language being one word in Hebrew, the name of God, Hayah, whatever we want will not be held from us. We want the rapture. We want to be taken up as the bride. There's 5 wise virgins and 5 foolish virgins. They're all virgins, but there's wise and foolish. There's a separation. There's a difference. What is the difference? Some know what to do on that day, at that time, what to ask for, how to ask, and some don't. If this is not the separation between the wise and the foolish virgins, the wise go into the wedding, the foolish do not. I want to be wise and not foolish. I've studied this as best I can. I hope that you will look into it. I hope that you will share this with someone before that day comes. Because on that day, when this happens, there won't be enough time for the foolish virgins to get what they need. It'll be too late. And he will say to them, why didn't you come when I called? Why didn't you come? And they thought they had enough. They thought they had what they needed, but they didn't. They were proud. They thought they knew it all. And yet there was something that they didn't know, that the wise virgins did know. And that was what separated them from going into the wedding or not. I think this is it. I think this is what separates the wise from the foolish. I hope you'll look into it. I hope you'll enjoy the Feast of Tabernacles, and when it's over, I pray to the Lord God, Hayah, whose Son is Jesus Christ, Yesu Bar Hayah, that he will take us up and fulfill that feast this year in 2022. God bless and take care.